Gotta use this on my back.
Hey, babe? Babe? What's up, everybody? Schuyler Diehm here, founder of SchuyFit, where we help people optimize their biology and their psychology to lose weight forever. And in today's video, we are reviewing the RecoverFun Aircup. Now, before we dive into it today, if you are looking for more awesome ways to simplify the process of getting healthy, building muscle, feeling incredible, make sure you tap that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when we release new videos. And if this video helps you out, don't forget to hit that like button. So the RecoverFun Aircup combines dynamic cupping with red light therapy. And I'm just going to go over some of the information that they have on their website. Number one, this product offers dynamic cupping. It exceeds traditional cupping therapy sets because it has dynamic suction. So there's an alternation of suction and release to simulate authentic massage, which boosts efficient blood circulation while speeding up the recovery process. Along with that, which is a really cool feature, is on the inside, which we will explore for a second, they also have red light, which includes an aspect of red light therapy. And the research is actually pretty heavy on this, that it does back up recovery, it does back up reduction of inflammation, and helps with more effective treatment. Along with that, there's also faster healing of tissue and muscle that allows you to relax better while you're using this. The RecoverFun also has some personalized settings, which we will dive to in a moment, but you can basically customize your experience based off what your muscles want and what you need. And which is pretty cool is they have a scraping setting, which actually gives you more of the scraping massage, which is for relieving muscle tension, boosting circulation, and also improving lymphatic drainage, which is really cool. So my first experience with cupping was when Michael Phelps won the Olympics. You know, he took his shirt off, he did his race, and it looked like he had all these bruises running down his back. And I think at that point, that's where cupping really started to blow up, but cupping has actually been used for thousands of years at this point. In fact, it was actually used in 1550 BC and was used by Egyptians, Chinese, and Middle Eastern cultures as well. Now, the idea behind cupping is that it increases circulation by pulling at your skin, pulling at your muscle. It allows more blood flow, and it helps the muscle in the area to recover more quickly. Along with that, I mentioned lymphatic drainage, which helps with the immune system and pushing out toxins as well. Now, of course, I'm always skeptical with new things like this, especially if they don't have a more mainstream appeal to most people. And so I did find a study that was really relevant. So this study looked at patients with neck and shoulder pain, and there was actually 60 participants, 30 received cupping therapy and 30 received no treatment. And the cups were used on the left side and the right side of the body for 10 minutes on each point. Now, here's what's really cool. So they measure their pain on a scale of 10 being the most, and then obviously 0 being no pain. And the people that had neck pain in the control group went from 9.7 to 9.5, so barely any reduction. But the people who did cupping went from an average of 9.7 to 3.6. Now, I'll talk to you about my experience in a second, but it's pretty obvious from that this does have the ability to relieve tension, to improve circulation, and in general, reduce pain and improve recovery. So before talking about my experience, let's quickly dive into the hardware and the software of the RecoverFun Aircup. So clearly what you see right here is you have this cupping device. So all you have are 3 buttons. The middle is going to be a power button. When you press that, it should turn on when you hold it. Then you're going to have the mode. So we'll get to each individual mode in a second. All you do is press that button, and then you have the suction power. So I've only played around with like 2 on here, and that's enough for me. I can't even imagine what 5 is going to be like. I don't want to toy around with that. But what I will say is that this thing is pretty legit, and it has the manual aspect, which you can include on here. They also recommend that you do wipe down and clean the inside, which I haven't done since my last session, and you can just see some oils are there. So I absolutely need to clean that. And then when you put it on, what you'll see in a moment is that as soon as it goes on my skin and it starts sucking it up, the light's going to turn red. And you see there. So I'm not going to cup right yet. We will get into my experience and I'll show you a little bit about what I did. There you go. But the cool part about this is if you're able to place it on your back or wherever you'd like, you can also control it remotely through an application on your phone. And so the application is called RecoverFun. You can get it at the App Store. It's totally free. All you do is turn on the Aircup, and then there will be a search button. Click search. Usually picks it up pretty quickly. Found it, my Aircup. I hit the little check, and it opens this up. And so you can see here at the top, you got a timer. Now the Aircup turns off automatically after 12 minutes to prevent overuse. And so 12 minutes is kind of that max mark. If I do, say 8 minutes on one side, 8 minutes on the other, it will turn off halfway through the second 8 minutes. So it'll turn off at that 12-minute mark, which to me is but it's also a really good safety measure to make sure you're not overdoing it. You can also see here, you can change the suction power. So it gives you a pretty precise description on the bottom. So now I'm at 30. Can take it up to -50, but like I said, the suction is really strong, and even having it more down here is enough for me to really feel it. Along with that, you also have the suction modes. So I do wish they had this information on the Aircup so I didn't have to open the app every single time to figure out what setting is what. But section 1 is a massage, section 2 is progressive, then we have relaxing, cupping, and then scraping. And so I will be playing around with these and giving you kind of a live feature with this, but this is really the benefit of the app. And then you also have a timer here, so in case you wanted to check the specific time you want to set for 5 minutes, you can do that and you can see it updated on the top. So pretty cool that they have an app, pretty cool that they have these features, but let's get into a little bit of my experience. Okay, so we are just gonna be running through a couple settings with the RecoverFun. Basically what you're gonna do, turn the light on, it's going to start automatically cupping, and then you would find the location. So from what I've seen, you can pretty much put it anywhere. You obviously have to have enough skin. You do not want to put it near organs. You do not want to put it near your heart. There's just 2 rules there. The other thing is there's areas on my back that I can't reach. There are, when you see cupping, you tend to see it down the back, and unless someone's with me to help me put it on, I can't reach there, which is a negative, but you're not going to find any cupping machine or any cupping thing that makes it possible for you to put it on your back. So the best you can do is kind of like estimate the area, find a mirror, and then put it on and kind of move from there. But what we're going to do is, you can kind of see I have a mark here from my session a couple days ago. I'm just going to put it in the pretty much same spot, and then what you'll see is immediately it turns red and it starts taking in my skin, and I can definitely feel that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open the app and I'm going to play with some settings here. You can hear it, it's suctioning and then releases. Sucks, release, suck, release. So you can see it's a very fluctuating type of thing. It's not just cupping it and holding it there. So I'm connected. We'll do massage for a minute or 2. This just feels like a standard, like legit, like a massage. Like it pulls in the skin and then releases very quickly. Pulls in, release. Honestly, here it's at the minimum suction as you can see, but I'm just gonna leave it because it feels like a lot. I feel like if I were to turn it up, it actually really starts to hurt, and I don't want to mess with that. And another thing to note is you don't want to put this on any cuts or burns or anything that may be sensitive. If you have a cut or a scab even that's starting to close up, doing this can open it up and can actually draw out blood, which I believe is actually a form of cupping, but with a machine like this, you don't want to be getting blood everywhere. Feels pretty good. We will now move to progressive, which is number 2. So clearly you can see it slows down. So it pulls in, pauses, pulls in a little more, pauses, pulls in, holds, and then it just released. So we'll see that here. Pull, pull, holds it, and then release. And then pulls, pulls. This is pretty cool. Now we move into relaxing. This is really nice. So this is just slowly pull in, release. Slowly pull in, release. So no pauses. It's not a even pull and release. So you can see pull, release, pull, release. Then we get to the standard, which is cupping. Okay, so cupping is a little bit more intense of a pull, and then when it gets in, it's going to hold. So this is just going to be your standard cup, and it just pulled in a little more. Ooh. It's one of these things, it's not comfortable, there is a little discomfort. It's not too painful, like I'm not freaking out, but it definitely doesn't feel like something that is enjoyed, like you kind of have to breathe into it. And then finally, I'm excited, I haven't even tried the scraping tool yet, so we'll do scraping right now. This is much more relaxing. It's not pulling it very tight. You can kind of see it's not even pulling the skin all the way that up. There's a good amount of space, so it's more of a fluctuating motion, whereas cupping, that pulls the skin. You can see how far that pulls it up. And then you could just sit here, sit here, hang out. One feature that I wish they had is you can't leave the app and leave this on. So while if it's here, I could close the app and then just put it to the manual setting and maybe just keep a manual timer. If it was on my back and I closed out of the app, I would have to reach back, find the button, press it. I wish you were able to leave the app because it would be nice to be able to scroll and kind of hang out. But there's no big deal in getting a book or just hanging out and relaxing and just chilling. Either way, you're going to get a good cupping session. So I'm going to go for a couple more minutes here. We'll time it and then I'll take it off and we'll go to the other side and kind of see what is on my shoulder. Okay, so right now I can barely move my shoulder because the skin is that tight. But once the timer is up or once it automatically turns off, you press the button, it's going to slowly let go of your skin and then you can pull it off. And immediately you can see we've got a lot of coloration. Looks like a big bruise. And basically what this tells me is that it pulled a lot of blood into the area, potentially popped some blood vessels. I'm not totally sure on how that works, but the blood flow and working with the muscle is going to allow that to recover a little bit quicker, especially with the red light. And so we hit that side. So my next goal is to hit the other side with the same time and intensity. So let's do that now. I'll see you in a few. All right, that's about the same amount of time. I'm feeling it. It's absolutely grabbing the skin how it should be. So simple press of the button. It's slowly gonna pop off and we have a mark. So that's kind of my experience with it. Let's snap back to the table and give a full review. So I had to get a shower in to feel better. I was a little sweaty there. But I did want to go over the pros and cons of the RecoverFun Aircup. So pro number one is that this is going to be a very accessible way to get cupping done. If you go out and if you had a cupping session once a week, it would probably rack up price-wise. And so depending on the price, within 1-2 sessions of this, it's paid for itself as opposed to having it done by someone else. Second pro is there's a solid amount of settings on here. Between the cupping setting, the scraping setting, the massage setting, and then all the different intensities of suction, you do have a lot of choices to play around with to find what you need in that moment and what you enjoy the most. Pro number three, it's good for recovery at home. This is overall a good tool to have in your tool belt, and you don't have to go set an appointment. You don't need someone else. Really, all you have is this cup, and you can get a good recovery session from it by itself. Pro number four is the red light is a good touch. Sometimes with other methods, you'll find that there's a little science to back it up, but it's kind of the debate of whether it's actually beneficial or more just a placebo. But red light is one of those things that has a ton of studies, and when you really examine how it interacts with the body, it makes sense that it actually does work. And pro number five for me is the battery life of this thing. It's rechargeable, so thankfully you don't have to go out and keep buying batteries, but I've done 4 or more sessions at a time without even having to charge it, and even just charging it in between sessions isn't a problem at all. Cons. So obviously one of the cons here is it does take a little bit longer for a session as opposed to if you had all the cups at once and you got it done by someone else. And so let's say you wanted to hit all 3 sides of the shoulder, you wanted to hit down your back, you would have to wait, depending on the session length, whether it's 6 minutes, 10 minutes per session, that could add up quick in terms of time. Now, if you wanted to rotate, so let's say on a gym day when you hit chest, you could cup the chest. When you hit shoulders, you could cup the shoulders. When you hit legs, you could cup the legs, and you could rotate. That will make it a little more efficient, but you still do have to spend a decent amount of time on each body part. So con number 2 is obviously there's going to be hard to reach areas here. So scenario 1, you're alone and single like me, in which case there's some areas you just can't get, or you'd have to ask like a friend or a neighbor or someone else to come over and do it for you. Or the other situation is you live with someone and you have someone in your life, but you do need to find time for them to be able to come place it on the correct spot on your back, and then obviously come and take it off and figure everything out with that. Con number 3, this thing legit could be dangerous. Like, I put it on my back when I had a cut without realizing it, and it hurt and it bruised for a few days, and there was a little blood that came out. Now, that wasn't the worst thing in the world, and I'm sure there's probably some positive things to that, but that was on the lowest suction setting. And so I do see a lot of potential for this turning bad, for turning the power all the way up and then maybe putting it on a body part that has a cut, or potentially that's just a little more sensitive. And so, that is the risk that you have with getting this, which when I'm looking for recovery products, I'm probably going to look for low risk, because when I think about some people out there who maybe aren't as in tune with their body, or maybe not just as comprehensive with health and recovery, this could be potentially dangerous for them. And con number 4 for me is I do wish the app stayed on while I was browsing on my phone. So it'd be nice to put the cup on a spot, use the app to set the timer, and then to be able to navigate to which setting, which suction power, and then be able to close it, scroll through Instagram, do whatever I got to do while that thing is working. But I has to have the habit of just turning off, and then I'd have to reset the setting manually on the actual cup itself. So with that being said, overall, I think that this is a great product. I do think there are a lot of beneficial sides to it, but to me, this is just a tool that goes in your recovery tool belt. I don't see this as the tool for recovery. I do see myself using something like a foam roller a little more often than this, but this is pretty cool where if I have a tough shoulder day or I have a tough day with any other body part, that I can just slap this on and relax while it does its thing. So if you could leave me a comment below, I'd love to hear your experience with any recovery tools, specifically cupping. If you used this before, let me know. But other than that, again, if you're looking to simplify the process of losing fat, building muscle, and getting healthy, make sure you go down in the description of this video. We got a free training for you there laying out our process and how it's simple and how it's better than most other fat loss strategies out there. And along with that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and tap that bell icon to be notified when we release new videos. And so with that being said, as always, make sure to eat smart, move more, sleep deep, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you in the next video.